Hi Aries, welcome to December. This is TarotScope, and before I start your reading, let me let you know what's going on. This month we have Neptune moving direct on December 4th. We have full moon in Gemini on the 7th, a new moon in Capricorn on the 23rd, and on the same day Chiron moves direct. And then we have Mercury going retrograde at the end of the month, December 29th. And in the meantime, planets that were in Sag, the inner planets, are moving into Capricorn. But let's see what the cards say for Aries about love and relationships. What does Aries need to know about love and relationships for the month of December? What's coming up? I'm playing with a new deck this month. It's the Rider-Waite, but it's a new version of it. So, let's see. What does Aries need to know about love and relationships for December 2022? What's coming up for Aries? The Knight of Wands. The Strength card. The Ten of Wands in the past. The Tower. The Nine of Wands. The Death card. The Chariot. The King of Swords. The Seven of Cups. The Hermit. And the card at the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Pentacles. So that's interesting. Okay, so the Knight of Wands energy, you could be thinking about moving. Knight of Wands, it's like you're looking for adventure. You're ready for like a new cycle or a new start. So sometimes the Knight of Wands comes up when somebody moves or changes jobs. So you're either moving to a new location, or if you're working, you might be changing jobs. It's like you're wanting adventure. You're kind of, maybe you've been bored with your life and you need something new, a new cycle, a new energy coming in. You have the Strength card crossing this. So this card could be, you could be dealing with a Leo, some of you. But you could also be trying, the Strength card is about learning how to tame your emotions. Not going to extremes of emotion, not overreacting. Learning how to deal with your anger, not learning how to get your needs met without blowing up in anger. So you could be dealing with, like she's trying to tame the beast. So it's really more of a figurative meaning, taming the beast within. Because we all have that wild part of us that when somebody pushes your buttons, you just want to react, and you lose your humanity. You forget about being nice. You just you're roaring like the lion. So you could be working on anger issues this month in a relationship. So if it's not you having to deal with anger issues, it could be your partner, or maybe the both of you learning how to resolve conflict in a good way, in a healthy way. Is what I'm saying. Sometimes the Strength card comes up when counseling can help. So if you're having problems in a relationship, couples counseling could work for those of you who are in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, it could be your own inner turmoil, your inner anger that you have to deal with. Maybe that's getting in the way of you connecting with someone. So especially with this Knight of Wands energy, you might get angry with someone and say, that's it, I'm out of here. Or you're just reacting. You're not planning. So you want to plan. Don't take calculated risks, because Aries has a tendency sometimes to jump into things without thinking about the consequences. So carefully consider. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take risks or you shouldn't make changes, but don't do it when you're angry. Don't do it as a reaction. Do it as a strategic plan. That's what I'm saying. So you have the Ten of Wands here. So, and plus with these two tens, I feel like you're ending, something is ending. You've got a lot of cards about ending a cycle. The Ten of Wands is carrying a heavy burden. but the good thing about so you have been dealing with something that's been really heavy, that you feel like you've been struggling. But the 10 of Wands is in the past, and when you get to the 10, you're at the end of the journey, so you get to put the burden down. So maybe you decided, I just want to put my burdens down. I want to make some major changes. You've got the Tower here in the recent past. The Tower is major. It's like breaking down and rebuilding. So that could be. It could express in a lot of ways. It could be that you, like a relationship falls apart, but then you rebuild in a better direction with something new. It could be that you lose a job, or you decide to just make major changes in your life. I mean, something is being taken away with the Tower, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't see the Tower as a matter of fact, I don't even think the Tower is bad in this situation. It's next to the 10 of Pentacles. So it could be that something shocking happens that leads to a good thing. So like the 10 of Pentacles is the wealth card. It's about establishing a happy home, a secure home. But in order to do that, you have to make major changes. So I feel like you're going through some major changes this month in a relationship to get to what you want, which is the 10 of Pentacles. If you're wanting a relationship, there are things that have to change. So, and especially if you're having problems in a relationship, sometimes the Tower can mean like a mental breakdown or a physical breakdown, but it's not. It's like when you suddenly see. It could even be enlightenment, when you suddenly see what you've been doing. Like, oh, now I see it. And it's like an awakening. It's an awareness. And when you see the truth, because the Tower, here you've got this lightning hitting the Tower. It's and the odds are falling people are falling from the Tower. They're falling from. It's like waking up from a path that has been false, or a behavior that has been false. So if you've been doing things and not being aware of what you're doing, the Tower is a wake-up call. So I feel like you might come to some type of realization about like some truth comes to the surface, and it changes you. It changes the way you deal with relationships. And this is a general reading, so it may not apply to everyone, but if it could be working out in different ways. The Tower could mean that a relationship that was not right for you ends, falls apart and you wake up to that fact, and now you can rebuild in a better direction. But it could also mean that you wake up to what you've been doing that's destroying the relationship, because especially with this anger card here, I feel like you may have some kind of come to Jesus moment where you realize, oh, now I see it. Now I see where I have been either working against myself, or I could see now what the problems are in the relationship. And I feel like, you have the Hermit here with the Strength card. I really do feel that counseling or going to someone for advice, taking time out to think and evaluate, is really going to help the relationship. You have the 9 of Wands here. This is a card of you've been struggling with something and you're thinking about giving up. Like, it's like it's been a battle. So you could be in a relationship where you're trying to work things out, and it's one battle after another. And sometimes the 9 of Wands, you feel like you're battle weary, and you feel like maybe I just want to give up. Maybe I should just give up. Whatever you've been dealing with has been really difficult. And it's caused you to go, and you have gone through major changes. So for some of you, it could have been the end of a relationship, because this is in the past. But if you're still in the relationship, then you're just going through the struggle, and you're having to make some major changes. You have the Death card here, which doesn't mean death, physical death, but it does mean the end of a cycle where you have to release the past. You have to clear out the past and let it go. Maybe there's something from the past. It could have been some past trauma that was interfering with your current relationship. Maybe there was a relationship from the past that really that ended in a way that was really traumatic for you, and it's been coloring your relationship since that point. So with the Death card, and so here you are, if you look at this card here, he's prepared to do battle. It's like, I know what I went through. I don't want to go through that again. So you got your defenses up. You're afraid to be vulnerable in the new situation. And with the Death card, it's about looking at the past, blessing it, maybe even holding on to some past trauma that you need to release, and that's causing some of the problems. And once you see it and release it, and you can heal it, and then the Death card is about clearing all that out and making room for a new start, making room for the new to flow in. But with the Death, there's like a transition. It's like going from winter to spring. You kind of clear out the dead wood and clear out the dead leaves before you start planting something new. So you're going through some major changes, not only in relationship, but even within yourself. And part of it is about releasing the past and releasing past trauma, maybe even past anger. You have to forgive and release. You have the Chariot here. This is a card about victory through discipline and focus. So, because you have the Seven of Cups here, I feel like you might be too scattered. So maybe you've been like, well, if you're not in a relationship, you might be dating several people, not sure which one you want. Or you could be so busy with different activities. You have to figure out what it is you really want. And just focus on that and get rid of all the distractions. Maybe you're overburdening. Some people, if you have a fear of relationships or a fear of intimacy or fear of commitment, you busy yourself with all these other work projects. So I'm too busy to have a relationship. That's for those of you who are not in one. I've got this to do. I got that to do. I don't have time. It's because you're avoiding the trauma from the past. You're like, I'm afraid to get back into one. What if I get hurt again? What if somebody abandons me? What if someone betrays me? What if I go through that? I don't want to go through that. You have in your environment the King of Swords. This could be maybe if you're involved with someone that you feel is a little bit too harsh with you, expects too much from you. The King can also represent some legal situation. So some of you might be dealing with a legal situation. But it's also about learning discrimination, the King. Learning, like, in the past, if you chose relationships based on passion, which you can with the Strength card because it's also a passion, maybe this time you're using your intellect, or you're connecting with someone who is more cerebral, more intellectual, less volatile, or less fiery. Like maybe you're with the last relationship was with someone that was really passionate and fiery. Now this new relationship is more subdued. There could be even an age difference. But the King is about saying, the King is also fair. So if you're going through some kind of legal situation, there will be a favorable outcome. You just have to not let your emotions, especially if you're going through a divorce and you're fighting with a partner and there's legal situation, don't blow up in anger because it's only going to make your case worse. So you have to be more, learn how to self-control. You have the Seven of Cups here. This is like you have several options. So for some of you, there might be more than one person that you have to choose from, or you're just not sure what you really want in a relationship. Because the Seven can be like, I'm dreaming about what I want, but I'm not taking action. I'm not sure what I want. And even with the Hermit, that's a card of taking time out to think, is this right for me? I don't know if this is right for me or not. I'm not even sure what's right for me. So you may need to take some time out to think about, okay, what kind of relationship do I want, especially if you're not in one. You have to know what you want before you can get it. And don't be afraid to take action. You may be afraid of, I don't want to go through the trauma I already went through in the past. I don't want to deal with that again. I don't want to be hurt again. And that, for some of you who are not in a relationship, you might be letting that stop you. So you're so you just might be involved in superficial relationships as a way of being safe. The Nine of Wands can sometimes mean that something that you dealt with in the past comes back to be dealt with again. So it could be a past relationship coming back. Maybe you have some loose ends to tie up. And you're prepared to do battle, like, oh, I got to deal with this. But the good thing is it's the last battle, and then you'll be done. But you have a lot of thinking to do. I feel like you have a lot of thinking to do, and there are changes going on. And I think ultimately it could be positive because you have the Ten of Pentacles here. But to get to the 10, you're going to have to realize that some cycle has finished from the past. Release the past. Don't think you're going to repeat the past. You have to heal from the trauma and release your anger and learn, maybe even talk to someone to help you deal with it so that you can move on and have a healthier relationship going forward. Now let's see what the angel cards have to say. What do the angels want to tell you for December? But I feel like, for the most part, I think it's positive because the worst is over. The Tower's in the past. The Ten of Wands is in the past. Now you're kind of in transition, and you're just wondering, okay, what's my next step? What you want to make the right choice, and you're just trying to figure out if the person you're with now, if you're with someone now, you're trying to figure out, is this the right person? Or if you're having problems in a relationship, you're trying to figure out, how can I fix things? And I think a part of it, there's some past trauma that's interfering with your current situation. And if you can heal that and release it, then you're on the road to a better, a new beginning. So let's see, what do the angels say for Aries? Prayer. Dear guardian angel, to you I pray. When I am fearful, help me to remember that only love is real. When I'm lost, help me find my way. When I'm confused, help me to regain clarity. When I feel lonely, help me to feel your loving presence. Where I perceive chaos, help me to see order. Thank you. So that's it. Pray for insight and to overcome fear and to find direction. I feel like you really need guidance at this time, and so it would be a good idea to talk to someone who you respect and get their opinion, even to take time out to listen to your own inner voice about what to do with a relationship. Because you're on the edge of change, of ending one cycle, starting a new cycle. You are in that transition period. So that's why things may feel confusing, because like the past is not dead and the future hasn't been born yet. And so you're just like, I don't know what to do. So it would be good to get another person, get someone's advice, get another opinion, and bounce some ideas off of them. So let's see what the astrology is doing. We have a full moon in Gemini on December 7th, and that's happening in your third house of communication and siblings, relatives, your local environment. So the moon, and it's conjunct Mars, and it's opposing the sun in the 9th house. Now, Mars with the moon, full moons bring things to the surface. So you're going to see the truth about something. But with Mars, your ruling planet, in your third house, your communication style may be a little bit harsh. Maybe people feel like you're always ready to fight, like you're in this fighting mode, fight or flight mode. So you may want to look at your conversation style and see if maybe it's not what you say, but how you say it. Maybe you need to tone it down a little. So you could be feeling like, I'm fighting with everybody. I'm fighting with my brothers, my sisters, my aunts, my uncles, my friends. The 9th house, the sun in the 9th, well, the 9th house has to do with higher education, long distance travel, but also your belief systems, like your faith. Like, do I have faith? What do I believe in? What do I feel like is possible? I feel like you're going to see what's possible at this full moon, and it may involve travel. You might be deciding, maybe, the full moon is usually a completion. So you could be coming back from a trip, or you could be, or a travel, a vacation or travel is going to bring certain things to the surface so you can see them clearly. This moon is squaring Neptune in the 12th house. So definitely with Neptune in your 12th house, you have some psychological issues to think about. Neptune, the 12th house, has to do with spirituality, the unconscious, areas of confinement like hospitals, prisons, healing. It's everything that's hidden. So there might be some things that you can't see that are hidden. You might be being run by unconscious programming because the square brings tension. So, but the good thing is Neptune is strong in Pisces in the 12th house. So if you want to get at those things, if you want to do some psychological work, you have that, it's like you have this angelic or divine guidance helping you to heal and to bring things out so that you can see it and heal it. And you can make real progress because this moon is trining Saturn in your 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of friendships, the groups that you belong to. It's also the house of hopes and dreams. So you have the potential with Mars trining Saturn and the moon to manifest a dream, to make a dream real, to create something that you really want. But it's going to involve communication. It's going to involve looking at the psychological aspects. Where do I, my blind spots? Where do I self-sabotage? What is it that I'm not seeing that's causing problems in the situation? And Jupiter is there too. Jupiter's in the 12th house. Now, Jupiter in the 12th, it's kind of moving, it has conjunct Neptune earlier in the year, and now it's kind of moving away, but it's still close enough to have an influence. Jupiter's been ramping things up in the 12th house. So maybe you've been feeling like I just want to be alone to think. Maybe it's ramping up some psychological issues that you have to face. Jupiter is squaring Venus. And Venus is in the 9th. You could be dealing with someone that's from a very different culture than you. So there could be cultural differences that you have to take into the equation. The good thing is Venus is in Sag. Pluto is in, well, forget that. Jupiter is sextile Pluto. Venus is conjunct Mercury, but they're in different signs, but they're close. Like Venus is at the end of Sag and Mercury's at the beginning of Capricorn. So they're like 3 degrees away. And Mercury's in your 10th house. So Mercury is good for your career, signing contracts, making business deals. Jupiter in the 12th is sextile Pluto in Capricorn in your 10th house. So there could be someone behind the scenes helping you out in a business situation or helping you out in some way psychologically where like you have this divine guidance or you have this guardian angel helping you, because Pluto in the 10th is transforming your life direction. I mean, your life direction is transforming. Where you can feel like I'm going to be a different person after this. After Pluto leaves your 10th house. Pluto's been in your 10th house since 2008. So you've been going through a lot of major changes about what do I want to do with my life? How do I want to be seen in the world? The Pluto is your public house. The 10th house is the public house. Sometimes when Pluto is in the 10th, you get your dream job, or you're doing things that you really love. But you could also be drawing in powerful people that force you to change. They get you out of your comfort zone. So, what else is happening? Now, Venus is squaring Jupiter. So you want to watch out for excess. Usually, Venus and Jupiter are benefics, so they don't bring major problems. The only thing they could bring is overly optimistic thinking, or not, maybe spending too much money, not realizing, taking on too much. So you want to make sure that you're seeing things realistically, that you're not exaggerating things or you have to have faith in what you want to do, but you don't want to go over the top. You have to know what your limits are. But I feel for you, there's a lot going on psychologically. But the good thing is Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces are very strong. They're in their ruling signs. And they're in the house where they feel at home. So if you ever wanted to do any kind of psychological healing, this is the time to do it, especially because you have the power of Pluto behind you too, because they're forming a sextile to Pluto. And Neptune has been sextile Pluto, so that's like an outer planet. It's not as significant. But Jupiter is a little bit more inner. So Jupiter is giving you an opportunity to get at the areas in your life that have been blocking you on a psychological level, like your blind spots, so that you could see it and heal it. And I think that can happen with this new moon. This full moon, I'm sorry. Because full moons represent completion. They represent visibility, like seeing the problem, learning, and when you can't fix it unless you see it. So I feel like you're going to have some kind of an awareness, like an awakening. And plus, Neptune is going direct on the 4th, just before this full moon. So when Neptune goes direct, things are going to start to move in that 12th house as well. Those 12th house issues are going to get activated. So you have an opportunity for healing on a deep psychological level. And, with Neptune and Jupiter there, you may feel like you need some time out to process everything that's going on. So take the time you need. Maybe you need to get away and go on a retreat, do some meditation. It's kind of like, you need to get away from the hustle and bustle so that you can think, so you can process a lot of this psychological transformation that you're going through. So then, after that, we have the new moon. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, we have the new moon in Capricorn, and that's happening on the 23rd, and at the same time, Chiron, the wounded healer, goes direct. And Chiron's been in your sign. Chiron's in Aries. So at the new moon, you have a new beginning in your 10th house of career. And it's squaring Jupiter in your 1st house, this new moon. Now, Jupiter in the 1st house is great, because once Jupiter is in Pisces at the beginning of the month, and then it moves into Sag. When Jupiter moves, into Aries, I'm sorry. When Jupiter moves into Aries, it's going to be in your 1st house. So it goes from your 12th to the 1st. When Jupiter's in Aries, you're like the golden child for the year. As long as it's in Aries, you're getting the blessings and the opportunities of Jupiter. So you have an opportunity to make a new start in your life direction, in your career. It could be a new job or a new business opportunity, even a new relationship or a new direction in a relationship, like going from single to married or married to single. But because of the square aspect, you want to look out for excess. You don't want to overdo it. Know what your limitations are. Don't take on more than you can handle. You have Venus, Mercury, and Pluto in your 10th house. So your 10th house is being activated at this new moon. And Venus can bring love. Mercury can bring contracts, writing projects, communication, marketing projects. It's conjunct Pluto. Powerful, you may have a powerful message you want to get out to the world. If you're doing any kind of writing, you could get serious recognition at this time. Mars is in your 3rd house. It's sextile Chiron in your 1st house. So your Chiron is the wounded healer. You have things that need to be healed. And Mars being in the 3rd house, you need to communicate. You need to talk. So if you've had things building up inside of you while everything was in your 12th house, as the energy shifts to the 1st house, Jupiter especially, and Chiron's been there, now is the opportunity. Mars is activating your Chiron. And it's wanting you to heal. You may want to heal relationships with your siblings. Maybe you have a sister or a brother you haven't spoken to in a long time. Aunt or an uncle. You may want to communicate, open up the lines of communication, have some kind of conversations, go through some healing process. The 3rd house is also, friends, your local environment. So you might be busy running around doing a lot of things, in the neighborhood. But I feel like with this new moon, you're having an opportunity to heal something significant within yourself. Maybe after you do all the psychological work, from the full moon, you have this new beginning. Like, okay, I'm on the road to healing, and now I want to talk to people. I want to, patch up relationships that I might have damaged because when I was in the unconscious mode. So Mercury is going retrograde at the end of the month. So if you're going to sign any contracts or do any business dealings or communicate, reach out, you want to get your contract signed before the middle of December, because when Mercury starts going retrograde, it can bring confusion and check all the fine print. I mean, you don't want to start anything new with Mercury retrograde, but you want to go back to the old and fix it. So you might be hooking up with old people, maybe coming back into your life, and you can go back and make something better. So if there's a relationship that ended or there's something that needs to be fixed, either in a career situation or relationship situation, you can go back and do that during the retrograde period. So Mercury will retrograde on December 29th until the first, like mid-January. So it's usually a 3-week period. So get everything done before the retrograde period. I think it goes into shadow in around the 15th. So you want to make sure you tie up all your loose ends, especially if you're signing a contract and it has anything to do with money. Because now Mercury conjunct Pluto can bring in a great opportunity that's going to transform your life in some way, your life direction. It could be a relationship, it could be a job opportunity, it could be a new contract. Whatever it is, it's going to really shift your energy. And it's going to be, so you could wind up getting an ideal job or a dream job during this time. But like I said, it's at the end of December, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But try to wrap things up by mid-December and you'll be fine. So I think that this month is going to be a healing month for you, Aries. And you're going to wind up having an opportunity to release whatever's been holding you back, deal with some psychological issues that you may not have even been aware of that have been blocking you from success. And then you're going to have an opportunity for a new beginning. And you're not only in career, but in life direction. And that could bring a new relationship that really transforms your life. Or it can bring changes in an existing relationship so that you're on a better path. And that's going to involve looking at the things that you may not want to look at, or dealing with things that have been hidden from your awareness. And that way I feel it's going to be a healing time. And in the end, you could wind up with this 10 of Pentacles. So don't be afraid you're not afraid. Aries is not afraid. But release the past. Let the past die. Don't hold on to the past. If you have anger over the past issues, past relationships, release that. And look forward to a new beginning without all the baggage from the past. So that's my forecast this month. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, click on the like button, leave a comment. I love reading all the comments. Click on the subscribe button if you want to know when I upload videos. And if you'd like a private reading, because this is just a general reading, it may not apply to everyone, click on the link in the description box. It will take you to my website, and you can order a reading through the website. And we'll be working together. So in the meantime, have happy holidays, because it's December. Whether you celebrate, whatever you're celebrating, happy Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you're celebrating, enjoy the holiday season, and I'll talk to you again next year. Okay, bye now.